Welcome to the first installment of YouTube Poop Universe, where in this episode we'll be discussing simple tools to use when making a YouTube poop. Now, when I say making a YouTube poop, I don't mean the fancy Sony Vegas, Sony Pro YouTube poops. I'm talking about Windows Movie Maker, for people who want to make a free YouTube poop without buying anything, which we will be talking about today. Some free and fairly good tools to use when making a YouTube poop. The first and best tool that we will be explaining in this episode is something called WavePad. It is a free sound editing program. You can buy it and you can edit video too, but I only have the free version, but it still has plenty of features to work with. And this program is excellent when changing sound, adding pitch, and etc. Look at this, there's plenty of effects to work with. You can amplify it, you can change the pitch, you can make an echo effect, which is pretty neat. I'll talk about that in a second. There's reverb. There's so many effects you can work with, and it's completely free. And here's the change. You can just change the pitch. You make it higher pitched or lower pitched, which is, pretty straightforward. Very easy to use. There is also speed change. You can make whatever they're saying, even music, either slower, faster, and then there's both, which it makes it sound better when you change it this way. Even though it makes it slower or faster, it makes it sound more natural. Like you can change, let's say, SpongeBob's voice, for example, to sound like a girl, and it will stay that way. And for echo, to make a person sound like a robot when they're talking, just change the delay time to 10 seconds, and this all the way up to 90. And when you play it, they will basically sound like a robot, like I've seen a few people do on King of the Hill. They change Dale's voice so he sounds like a robot. This is basically similar, and it works basically the same way. Another great sound editing program that I do not have to show you right now because it expired. This expires in 14 days, by the way, but you can easily just remove it and reinstall it. It's a mixed track software where you can add 3 different tracks of music, sound effects at once, and save it as a single file, which helps because Windows Movie Maker does not allow more than one audio other than the video audio. So this really helps if you want music and a sound effect, or a sound effect and more sound effects. Like if you want to make a YouTube poop MV, you can easily add sound effects, tracks. You can't do very many visuals with Windows Movie Maker. I'll talk about that later. But in general, this is another program that you want to install. It's called MixPad. When you're in WavePad, all you really have to do is just go up to the top, the NCH suite, and just look for MixPad. And it downloads within seconds, installs, and you can save up to 3 different tracks as one, which really does help. The next tool that I will be talking about is Paint. It's a pretty straightforward editing program, and there isn't very many effects, but it's good for just still pictures. Like you can cut, and you can copy, paste, and for cutting and pasting, I recommend doing that. And see, you can move it around, make things look weird. It's simple. Even though it is a simple program, you can still do surprisingly a lot of stuff with it. It may take a lot longer, such as animations. One of my videos, you can check that out. I'll put the link in the description. One of my videos, I had Squidward slowly move out of the panning of the Windows Movie Maker viewing window, and he popped up into this scary effect. You can do simple animation stuff like that with it, which ain't bad. You can edit pictures in stills. You can add subliminal stuff, for a fraction of a second. You can add Squidward having and yes, I know I have a lot of SpongeBob references because I use SpongeBob a lot because it's just easier to use personally. Now, don't quote me on it, but I'm just saying for me it's a lot easier. But with Paint, you can do surprisingly well stills for a few seconds. I mean, if you try to make a whole video out of Paint, don't expect to get a lot of positive feedback unless you really spend a lot of time on it. Another tool that you might consider using is something called Switch. It is also an NCH free program that you can convert sound files to other, more familiar ones such as MP3. Like if you record something with your own voice for some reason in a YouTube poop, you might want to convert it because it will most likely be in WAV, so you'll want to record it, or convert it, to one of these formats. There's only a few that work that are free. Some you have to buy, but MP3 is one of them that does work. And if you record your own voice, or especially if you use a file on WavePad, it records in WAV. So converting it to MP3 will reduce the file size and make it simpler. And those are some basic tools you might want to consider when you're making your first YouTube poop, or if you just want to improve the way you make YouTube poops. Now off to the main system, Windows Movie Maker, to edit your YouTube poops. And here is just a quick demonstration, and I'm using a clip from SpongeBob, of course, to basically explain this. This one doesn't necessarily have sound, but I will pull up a video at the end to show you what I'm doing. Just find out, then this is for a glitch effect. If you want to add like some sort of glitch effect, you split where they say one word and you cut it, and then you cut each side of the word, so you only have that single word at your disposal. And then you're going to want to go to effects, and there isn't very many effects to work with, but this one works pretty well. You just copy paste as many as you need. I recommend 5 or 6, so it's a quick little blurb of like a glitch, but no less or no more, unless you really want to make an annoying YouTube poop. Just go down to speed change, and just put a speed 1 or 2. One is okay, but you might be able to understand what they're saying. But I recommend doing 2. Add each clip copy, add 2 of the effects. For some reason it'll do this. It'll be really small, and then all of a sudden big. But I mean, and this won't really show on video. It doesn't show on video. But he says like yeah. He says yes, but it sounds like he's glitching. You can only add 1 audio track, which I said before. Use Mixpad. I mean, if you want to add more than just 1 effect down here. Pretty basic. You don't got very many effects, but it's good enough if you're just making a simple YouTube poop. And if you take a lot of time on it, you can compete with the bigger YouTube poopers, the ones that use the big expensive programs like Sony Vegas Pro, etc., etc. If you take time on your YouTube poops, even if you use Windows Movie Maker and you take time, you sit there and do every pixel one by one. If you take time, you will be able to make good enough videos. So don't be put down by people who tell you your videos suck just because you use Windows Movie Maker. This isn't that necessary. You should actually be praised for using Windows Movie Maker, especially if your video is popular, because it takes longer, it's harder, and it's more complicated to use everything in order. But using these simple tools I've described in this video, you can make it a little bit easier on yourself to how to edit videos. 1, you can use WavePad, a audio editing software where you can change pitch, you can add glitch, echo, reverb, basically everything that the big guys, I guess you can say, use. But it's just a bit harder to use because you have to save, and then I also if you use WavePad, I also recommend Switch Sound Converter. And all these programs I have described are completely free, except for Mixpad. It's free, but then it expires, but you can just remove it and re-download it. But Switch is a free converter that you can convert all your big wave sound files into smaller MP3 files or any other file that works that you want to bother with. to make it smaller and easier to work with. And then you can just use Paint. Of course, you know, most people have Paint on their computers. It's the basic Microsoft program, but you can use that to just edit scenes, clips, you know. But I recommend keeping it short and sweet. Don't go overboard by making an entire video or half the video out of Paint, because even though you might take a long time making it and you put a lot of effort in it, the YouTube community, including myself, isn't really fond of videos that are made with solely Paint and Movie Maker. I mean, even though you put a lot of time on it, that's not really the point. It's more of the fact, is it funny? Is it worth the wait? Is it worth to watch? Something simple. You don't need to go overboard, though, and buy all these programs. You can use Windows Movie Maker either way. But with these simple tools, you can compete with the more popular, well-known YouTube poopers. Now, the following video is made with all the tools I have described, and see if you can notice the effects that I used. And even though this is a fairly low quality video, like I said, I didn't take too much time on it, but this should give you an idea of how well your YouTube poops will be relatively if you download and use all these programs.
Well, Mr. Man, is this how you get your kicks?
What? It's just an ordinary crabby...
Oh my goodness!